It is back to reality for so many kids across the country as they head back to school after the holidays, just as pediatric COVID-19 hospitalizations and infections reach new heights.
Yeah, we're talking about the COVID-19 Omicron variant. It continues to spread across the country, and there are parents who are anxious, and they're wondering if it's safe to send the kids back to the classroom. Let's bring in now President of the American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten. Good to have you here with us once again. The number is 325,000. That's the number of children who tested positive last week for COVID-19 in the country. I know you don't think there's not a one-size-fits-all, all right? One school in one rural area might feel the need to shut down. Maybe a school in the city feels the need to stay open. Where do you come down on that right now? Should people be doing all they can to keep schools open?
Well, people are doing all they can to keep schools open, and that's what you're seeing across America this week. The infection rates because of Omicron are rising hugely. We're getting more and more evidence that if you're vaccinated and boosted, it is a mild illness. Look, I tested positive last week for COVID, and it was very mild for myself and my wife. And that seems to be more and more the evidence here, plus in South Africa. So I'm just begging everyone who hasn't to get, vaccinated and boosted. And so the real issue is going to be, how are we going to actually fight these rising infection rates, and how will we deal with the shortages when people ultimately test positive? They have to stay home, they have to isolate, whether it's children or whether it's educators. There's two things we can do right now to help, and President Biden has helped us by pushing out 500 million tests. Number one, and this is what's happening in UK, you test everybody walking into a school. That's what Washington, D.C., Detroit is trying to do this week. That's why they delayed the opening for a couple of days, and then Snowmageddon to try to make that happen. If testing can drive and help us manage what is a really terrible situation of rising COVID rates, rising infection rates, and if you're not vaccinated and boosted, it looks like you see an increase in hospitalization of those folks.
What do you say to the parents who are sending their children to school with the unvaccinated? What's your recommendation to them? What can they do? How should they feel?
Look, I think that, I'm a school teacher and I'm a unionist, and I really believe in, this is the first thing I ever taught in high school as a high school social studies teacher, was the Lockean social contract. And we believe that we are in community. The founding fathers believed we were in community. That's why they worked together to set up the Constitution. We need to help work with each other to help keep each other safe. So I'm begging people to get vaccinated, and now Pfizer has said 12-year-olds and up can get boosted as well. That is going to be the safest thing for your family in terms of dealing with COVID, this variant as well as those before. But what you just said about the testing, we know, and we know a lot of private schools are doing this, a lot of charters are doing this. I wish we had more of a consistency in terms of the public schools. Testing will show right now whether somebody is COVID positive or negative. The rapid tests do show Omicron infection, and so if you see a positive in terms of get your New York City, we're getting the rapid tests out to all the schools. Take a rapid test home. Take a test. If your child is positive, stay home. If you're an educator and you're positive, stay home. Wear a mask. Wear a well-fitting mask. I know the K95s are uncomfortable, but the K95s or the 95s and the testing will help us manage a situation where we're trying to keep everyone in school. And then ultimately for every parent, it's going to be a matter of risk and the risks that people are willing to take. I can't make, I'm not a doctor, I'm not, a scientist. I can't make that judgment for a parent. What I can say is all across America, and, I and so many of my colleagues, we have worked 24/7 over the last few weeks to actually say this is what we need to do to keep things as safe as possible. And because we know that that mild cases, that if you're vaccinated and boosted, that if you get sick, it will be mild. That's why the testing becomes so important, and wearing a mask becomes so important to protect others as well as to protect yourself.
Randi Weingarten, it is always so good to have you on the show. You always answer the call, and you're here to inform our viewers, and always good to jump in front of the camera. But also, I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. We did realize that you did deal with a bout of COVID, but good to see it was a mild bout. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.